Man, what's going on, Leroy? How you doing, bro?
Kendrick went back to Compton and he walked around the neighborhood. He walked by the liquor store, walked by the trap. You know what I mean? Man, hit a few corners. He was like, I can't let this dude talk to me any type of way. It's on. Kendrick responded, thank you, my brother. The West is in the building. Okay.
So, I gotta ask you, man, what's the environment or what's the climate like out there right now since Kendrick responded?
Folks I ain't really touched the street too much on the subject because it just happened. But people just happy he responded. Now, for those that I've heard all type of comments on the record, right? He touched a lot of stuff. This is surgical. I'm surprised to hearing lyrical heads saying they don't want K-Dot to be that lyrical, but we'll get to that in a minute. But he touched on several points, and it's like, for those that think that you're going to end Drake's career with a diss rap, please tell me what diss that. Please write the lyrics so I can read those. If you think you can end Drake's career with one song, please tell me what the lyrics to those are.
Well, yeah, if Pusha T didn't do it with the story of Adidon, it's not going to happen. I think that whole notion that an artist in this industry, in the modern industry, can be totally obliterated from the game.
No.
By a diss record, like, that's just not realistic. And I think the last time we could point to something like that might have been the Ja Rule 50 thing. But if we really look at what happened in that situation, that was more so the feds, and the lack of support from Def Jam at the time that was happening in culmination with the 50 Cent movement. And that's what really took him out. We're not going to see anything like that again. Artists are too ingratiated and make too many people too much money to be wiped off the planet. Like, we didn't learn that back when Cannabis and LL were going at it, because when we was kids, we thought it was just about the record. Like, oh man, Cannabis was about to destroy LL, but LL had the FUBU thing going on. He was still carrying Def Jam to a certain degree. Nigga had In the House with Quincy Jones, a sitcom. Like, nigga, he ain't going nowhere. Your diss record's not gonna remove him from the game.
Right. It's like, has anybody talking crap about you ever made you not show up to work? No, like, you still showing up to work. I don't care what you say. Like, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing with rap. There are no lyrics that's gonna make Drake be like, oh, you know what? I heard this song today and it's so devastating, I'm retiring from rap. That's not gonna happen, folks. Kendrick took a surgical pin. He does what he does. Kendrick's not trying to do what Drake does or do what you say, because a lot of y'all don't even rock with Kendrick. So he's doing what he does, and he got surgical. He put himself. I don't want to go back into the past with because people are expecting Big, Pac, Jada, Beans, Jay-Z, Nas. This ain't that. These people ain't gonna see each other and throw hands on Rosecrans, or that's not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
We don't want that to happen.
So, but people are acting like they're gonna throw hands. Like, that's not what this is. This is about skill. And he brought up the same type of things, like the culture versus commercialism, right? That's a factor. Hill figure, FUBU. These are serious bars. Yes, they flew over your head like it's light. It don't mean nothing, right? But we're talking about the cultural influence. I'm not going to go into low-hanging fruit, meaning not Drake because his mother's white. I'm not going to go there with that. If for those that want to go there, I'm not going to go there with low-hanging fruit, like, let me just say fuck you, or you use a bitch, or I'll slap you when I see you. All low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go into some lyrical stuff, and I'm going to start to break down Drake. All Kendrick has to do is continue breaking down Drake along cultural lines. Now, Drake...
So this is a culture vulture. Hold on. Yeah, so this is a culture vulture approach, right?
Culture versus commerce. He pulled his G card. He talked about the classic album debate. Where's your classics? I believe he has them. He talked about blackness as it relates to culture. He talked about writers. He talked about America versus Canada. He talked about the responsibility of the throne. He talked about I make cultural music. You make vibes. Where else did he go? I mean, he's cooking. This man is cooking. So it's like, where y'all want to start? We could go with the culture.
Agree with that. Hold on, let me get to these super chats, and I'm gonna let you continue to cook, man. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, when Joe says that he's black, a lot of us say that he's not black. But if he were to say that he's not black, a lot of us would say that He's a sellout. That's not embracing his African roots. No, Joe is a proud Puerto Rican, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like, where's the discrepancy there? I don't think Joe even. I mean, he said that he's black because he grew up around black people. I've heard him say that, but Joe's a Puerto Rican and proud of it. Like,
yeah, he's
nothing wrong with that. Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, "What the hell is Mad Max talking about? Garvey, Booker T. Washington, Gasper Yangi, Denmark VC, yes, Dessalines, Gabriel Moser, Jim Brown, Mad Max, please shut the hell up about things that you don't know. Education. I love this show. That's why we do this. Well, go ahead. Continue on your diatribe, sir."
So yeah, so I just started, I brought up other things, but you almost stopped me when we talked about culture versus commercialism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about the whole FUBU thing. Now, granted, Drake has cards he can play. Drake can say, hey, when I came into the game, people thought I was little brother's little brother. So I came in on some lyrical backpacker, so I can always go back to that and shut y'all.
You remember when he hit Kendrick with that bar on the Games 100 song when he said, "I would have half of your fans if I was on some conscious shit."
I mean, you're right. He's nice. If you want to go into the conscious bars, Drake is nice. Now the culture don't believe that, but when I was hearing Drake early on, comeback season, even a mixtape before that, I heard consciousness in what he was saying.
I mean, what's the record that he got with Elzhi and Fonte that Ninth Wonder produced?
Good things, all good things.
Yeah. So he can rap with those guys.
He can do that, man. But Kendrick is a problem, and Kendrick has the best shot at taking this challenge. All these other rappers, you don't have a shot at going at Drake. Come on,
Kendrick does numbers too. On top of that,
shot at Drake, man.
Yeah,
and it's not that you're not lyrically as nice or you can't do what you do, but what are you gonna say that's gonna knock Drake off his pedestal? It's not much you could say. Kendrick, he went the artistic route. Look, culture versus commercialism. He pulled his G card. Hey, I'm from Compton. I may have had to do some things to defend myself. That I don't know if you're familiar with where you from. You know what I mean? So he pulled his G card. The classic debate. Now, Drake could say, "I got so far gone, I got Take Care." So he's good there. So there were some things, you know what I mean, that both people can do, and I like this battle, and I think it should remain in the realm of artistic battling. You know what I mean? Because people thinking that is something else to none of that. It's not. Kendrick ain't losing no sleep over Drake, and Drake ain't losing no sleep over Kendrick. This is just another day in the lab, folks. You just have
777 the super chat says, "Clarify that Drake doesn't have a hip hop classic." Now, I did want to get to that because I agree with you. Kendrick, to me, has the hands down undoubtable classics. It's not even debatable. Whereas Drake's classics are more so to the people who rock with Drake's music, right? I think that they both have classics, but in different ways. But it's back to what you said, that culture versus commercialism. And not to say that Kendrick's not a commercial artist, because he is. He's very commercially viable and commercially successful. But he makes music that we study more than vibe to. And
yes,
I think that he can say what he's saying as far as like, I got classics, you don't, because he's sticking to that argument. Like you said, you're making commercial shit, I'm making cultural shit.
And I don't have a problem, whichever way the chat or the culture wants to go. If y'all want to go culture music, I'm with you. If you want to go commercial music, I'm with you. So I don't care which way y'all want to go, but pick a side and stand on it. Now, if you want to stand in the middle, that's a different conversation. But a lot of y'all, when it came to Jay and Nas, y'all picked a side, right? Jay was the bad guy because for his attachment to commercialism, and Nas was the good guy because apparently nobody knows him in the mainstream, right?
Well, I think that's a smart thing for Kendrick to take that approach, right? Because, like you said, Nas has sold damn near as many records as Jay did at that time collectively. But the approach was, he's the commercial guy, I'm the core hip hop guy. And I think that the core hip hop person's always going to win. So for Kendrick to take that position is very smart.
Very smart.
Because you can't sit here and use your commercialism, your hits, and your numbers, and your alleged ghostwriters to beat me.
Now, when Kendrick says that, Kendrick has to stay in the gym. Brother, I'm with you. When you send a shot at Drake, he may send a shot before the night is over. So you got him stay behind that mic and keep breaking it down. Just stay where you at and keep breaking it down. Now, Drake, he's not no slouch. Again, he could pull the card where, hey, in the late 2000s, I was coming with the lyrical stuff. Where was y'all at?
Yeah.
He could say that.
The difference between the Nas and Jay thing is what we know now. At least I used to think that Jay had more of a work ethic than Nas, and clearly I was wrong because Nas stuff was getting suppressed, and we see that now. Like Nas and Jay's work ethic were very similar, if not at the same rate, and maybe Nas could produce Jay on that level, whatever. But we know that Drake's work ethic, as of right now, is higher than Kendrick's. I mean, it just is what it is. He's making more music. He's in the gym more. That's why I think vocally he sounds better on his record than Kendrick does, because you could tell Kendrick's not really in the gym like that. Like Drake and J. Cole are in the gym right now, and Kendrick's lyrical ability is always going to be there because he's a brilliant mind and he knows how to put things together. But vocally on the track, he doesn't sound as fluid as Drake does right now, and that's just gym stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Drake is not an easy target.
Well, regardless of gym stuff, I still think Kendrick was in his lane, and he presented a creative diss track, and he approached it the only way that he could really approach it. He didn't get out of character. Yeah. He stayed in his pocket, and he hit Drake at certain points that we heard these lines before, but he hit him in a way, he deconstructed Drake in a way that I thought was creative. But
you're right. And I only bring up the gym stuff is because this is round 1 or 2. If this thing keeps going, you're going to have to keep going. And I don't know how much I trust Kendrick to go 4 rounds like this. You know what I'm saying? I think this is the same reason why I'll bring it up again. I don't even care if I bring it up again. Eminem didn't respond to the game because he knew this nigga was going to keep going and he couldn't keep up with his pace. But let's Kendrick smart enough to know the Drake's going to keep going. So I guess he's prepared to keep up with this pace.
But that's the new way of battling. You keep on going. We from an era where you do one song and you call it a day. This ain't that era. This ain't that era. This song is you keep going and you keep going until your point is felt. If Kendrick stays right where he's at, though, that is a tall mountain for Drake to climb. You're talking about culture. You know, I never been to Canada, and shout out to Canada. I'm sure it's a beautiful place. I know there are beautiful people in Canada, and I know there are black people in Canada with a black culture. But when you talk about from here, we a little bit different over here. We a little bit aggressive. We a little bit more like hip hop is more closer to the vest. And Kendrick, if he could really stay in his zone and keep breaking it down. Whatever Drake does next, I suggest that Drake show a level of cultural connectivity, not trying too hard. You ain't got to prove to me you black. I don't care.
But I don't think he even has to do that, Leroy. I think that's a losing game. He doesn't have to do that.
Do that without trying.
I mean, who's setting the stage here? Who's setting the chessboard? Who says he has to do that? Because it didn't make me look the record. What Kendrick said in his record, although I love the record, didn't make me look at Drake differently. I always thought he was a nerd. I always thought he was on some other stuff. I always thought he came from Degrassi. Nothing that Pusha said, nothing that K-Dot said makes me look at Drake different. He makes songs for the clubs. He makes songs for the girls. He can rap. They allegedly has ghostwriters. Allegedly, he has written for other people. And his work ethic has been shown. He's going to push. Some say it's been manufactured by Lucien. That's what Kanye said, right? That's what Ye said. But he's been working. He's been working. He's been the boy, as they say. Now Kendrick say he's looking for the man, but he's been the man for the past few years, and it is what it is. So nothing that K-Dot says making me look at, he got to pull his black card out and show us how much of a brother he is. He don't have to do that. He needs to just do what he got to do, rap on a song, and to do that.
Well, I don't know about black card per se, but it's a cultural card, right? Let people know that you belong in hip hop in that way. And I disagree with you. Pusha's story of Adidon did make me look at him different. The blackface picture was crazy.
But even after that, Ross still made records with him after that, right?
Yeah, he did.
A lot of these guys still Metro made records with him after that.
I agree.
Future made records with him after that. Travis made records with him after that. So but none of that stuff that Pusha did change the story of Adidon and the cover of the blackface changed anybody cooking up with Drake. They didn't. Even Ross did still cook with him. So I think Drake needs to come with some records. Don't get out of character. He ain't got nothing to prove because nobody made him prove nothing to this day. He been in the game since 2008, 2009. And folks ain't so now in 2024, when you the king of the mountain, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's manufactured or not, now he got to prove something to people. Man, that's corny. I ain't with that. Just get on the record, rap, do what you got to do. If you're going to lose, take your L, but you ain't got to prove nothing to nobody, especially the cats that you helped on 20 to 25 records over the past decade. I ain't with that. I ain't with that, bro.
If I talked to Drake and I was like, Drake, when we were supposed to do a song or something, right? And I said, well, Drake, do you know the history behind what you were doing with the blackface and all that? It's a good chance that he has a very limited education on exactly what that was. He's not from America. And even in America, a lot of people don't know what that was. So I let it go, man. People, if you do something in your early 20s now and that's something that's questionable, and it's a decade later, I let it go, man. It's not that deep.
Teenager.
It's not that deep, man. You didn't know what you was doing.
Am I hitting with the super chats real quick?
Yeah. Let me get to the super chats. But I did want to piggyback on what you said with the Ross thing. Ross not only worked with him, Ross took off one of Pusha T's verses that was on his album that addressed Drake. He did that. And it was actually one of the strongest verses on Port of Miami too. Mad Max in the super chat says, you act like light skins the white man's helper. They're not. Stop. They've been light-skinned freedom fighters.
Right.
Of course they were light-skinned freedom fighters.
The light skins are in the street books.
The light-skinned people were still treated as black people. So yeah.
Okay.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, no, Mike, it's not because Joe grew up around black people. It's because Puerto Ricans have African ancestry. And he's explained that. Now, I agree with that. Now, obviously, there are Puerto Ricans that have black ancestry, but, people in Latin America and in the Caribbean, there are color casts within cultures. I mean, I hear it from, Brazilian people all the time. Like, their dark-skinned family members get treated different than the light-skinned family members. So there are whiter Puerto Ricans and darker Puerto Ricans. And black, I don't want to say darker Puerto Ricans, black Puerto Ricans. It is what it is.
Somebody said the dude with the glass is ignorant. How am I ignorant, man? I would love for you to jump in and explain that to me, but we'll
say, give the trolls any food.
We'll save that for another day, man. We can debate one-on-one and we'll see who comes out on top. But that's okay.
Mad Max with the super chat says Muhammad Ali is fair skinned and he stood up as much, if not more, than Jim Brown. I respect all of them people, but we do the divide color point to much of too much is my point. We do the divide color point too much is my point. True. Yeah, I mean, it's all fun and games, to be honest. I mean, this light skin, dark skin stuff is just, funny stuff. But I think that the way that they're positioning it, it's kind of sounded serious,
Yeah, I ain't with all that, man. We got too many things to do as a culture, as a people to play those type of games, man. Yeah, we got other stuff to do. That's old talk, man. We in 2024, man. Let's come together. Let's talk about some real stuff. Let's talk about some AI and progressive, getting some money. Let's not talk about what our skin look like. That's lame.
Man, Max says, but Colin Kaepernick can say it when he was raised by white folks and mixed. I got footage of Drake with his pops in Memphis as a kid. Okay. All right. Shout out to Memphis.
Your whole point was let's get to what's going on right now, Ron, right? So the color thing, we could stay there, but that was funny. So let's moving forward. We laughed, right? Everybody laughed, so we're good. But what is really going on, like I said, with the cultural music that Kendrick makes and the commercialism of Drake, people are going to have to pick a side. Now, people are going to pick, I'm assuming in our circles, they're going to pick the Kendrick side because they're going to say that's the real hip hop, even though y'all not really rocking with the song like that. So if that's the case, right, what the problem now in the music industry is every level you go to, The artist is the one that gets paid the least. Everybody else is eating. Everybody else that are not from this culture are taking home the lion's share. So if you're gonna stand on the Kendrick side, cool. But what are you doing to affect that side that Drake is on? I'm not saying he's Kendrick, but that side needs to be dealt with. Because if we keep going down this path, it's going to be unsustainable to be rapping. And it's already kind of so. What are we doing? Let me know. Either way, I'm good.
You know what? And when you explain it like that, I think that's the side that Mr. Ye is willing to jump in and talk about, because he's been very vocal about that side of things and the people who really control the artist and the people who are really behind the artist and the names of the people who are normally nameless. So I think if Kanye jumps in this, or Ye, jumps in this, is going to be from that position. And I think that cultural position that Kendrick's coming from, that's something that he should continue to exploit and should continue to go in that direction. Miker777 with the super chat says, Kendrick exploited Drake's identity crisis, the end. Yeah. And I don't know if this is something we could do moving forward, or he can do moving forward, but he did it this time. And maybe, like you said, that culture versus commercialism should be something that he can continue on throughout this. Because what that does is it removes Drake's ability to talk numbers, right? He's already removed Drake's ability to use the N-word in the next record as well.
Okay.
He's removing things, and that's what you're supposed to do.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I don't think Kendrick is the authority or the holder of the word that can remove it or take it away from anybody. Again, I like, for the people that just joined, I like the Kendrick record. I think Kendrick is up, but I don't think that record, he has the authority to do that, man. Because, like, again, it's 2024. Drake's been using that record for almost 15, 16, that word for 15, 16 years. Just because K-Dot cooked up some fire on Tuesday, it's not going to stop him from using it. He doesn't remove it.
It's not about being the authority on anything. It's about utilizing what you have to take away the effectiveness when somebody uses something. So now if Drake uses that in the new record, it's gonna possibly have a negative effect on him. You know what I mean? Since he's already put it out there.
Possibly.
He can say whatever he wants. You know what I mean? He's not gonna, what are they gonna do? Beat him up for saying it? That's not gonna happen, but it's just gonna be less effective now if he says it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, when it comes to our choice of words with Drake and Kendrick or whoever, Fat Joe, it is a responsibility that one has with the throne, right? Some people take their responsibility seriously. Some people could really care less. Kendrick.
Moz, real quick. Moz, can you get this guy Dreamers Pro out of here? It's a spam, so spam.
On that too. Go ahead.
The thing with Ye is if you have Kendrick and he subscribes to the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, I don't disagree with that. I know where those things took place and I know where that's coming from. That's fine. If you're Kanye and both are sitting at the throne, I have to question Kanye about his responsibility to the throne. 1 minute you are following in the footsteps of Christ, and now we're starting a porn company. Let me know where it is. Where are you in the middle? Because if we're in the middle, just say you in the middle. But it's a responsibility to that throne if you're going to stand on certain foundations.
Mad Max in the super chat says, if I was Drake, I would say the N-word 1 million more times until Doc physically stopped me from saying it. That can happen too. That could be a response as well. JI Design super chat says, yo, I want to call in. Y'all tripping. Come on, JI Designs. Let's get in here, man.
We got JI Designs coming in and Super Duper. We're going to get those two.
I want to hear what Super Duper got to say too. DJ Bruce Almighty says, might I add, Kendrick's wife is mixed.
I mean, that's low-hanging fruit again, folks. If we get stuck on the race thing, that's too easy. It's too easy. Let's go to something higher. You know what I mean? Let's go to something of more substance.
I mean, we gotta talk about something else, man. We sitting here talking about the N-word. We sitting here talking about mixed race and skin color, and folks is talking about colonizing Mars, autonomous vehicles, some other stuff going on. We sitting here having these conversations. I got a guy in the chat talking about colonialism is rooted, and we're gonna explore that on another podcast of our experience in this country and in this world. But people thinking about some other things, man. And we got to start talking about some other things and thinking about some other things and come together as a people, man. That's all I got to say. I'm not trying to get on my Malcolm X tip, but we getting distracted on some foolishness, and it's 2024, and we got to get on our rocket ships.
We're talking about this is because Kendrick's record is rooted in this. So this is the conversation we're having because this is the diss record's position. This is, I think those are probably his strongest points, right? Drake's lack of connectivity to Blackness and culture. I think that's what this whole record is about, really, right?
Yeah, he had to do that.
What other points does he really have that? And that's pretty much where Ross has been taking it to. So we're talking about this because this is how this back and forth is transpired.
So Kendrick could leave it there, and on the next one, he could go to something else. There's plenty of material that you can go with, and starting from that foundation, you don't have to stay there. We could go somewhere else. But again, Drake could always say, "I'm a student of Little Brother, Elzhi, lyrical rappers. That's where I come from." So
he also questioned his sexuality too. That happened in there too.
I mean,
and I think that's just regular diss record shit, right? Like I don't think there's really any basis to that. But
right.
J.I. Design said, "Where's the link?" I think the link's down there now.
That with Kendrick, it's a high level of lyricism, and it's for us to break down these things. That's why it's a little disappointing for people to be like, "Oh, I don't like it because it's too lyrical." Well, it's like Kendrick Lamar, like that's how he built his brand on being lyrical. So what
being conscious and being culturally aware.
Like, what is he supposed to do? He can't just be like, "Oh, F you. When I see you, I'm gonna knock your head." He can't just do all that. But he did stand on business. He's from Compton, so that's the cultural relevance. You know what I mean? He's from Compton, man.
Yeah, yo, let's get JL Designs on. He want to say something.
Yo, what's good?
Yeah, what's good?
I love y'all. I
appreciate
y'all.
The love, man.
I love y'all. So when I say this, it's in love, y'all.
Love.
Y'all Gen Xers, this is karma. This is karma, y'all. And this is playing out through the millennial generation. And it's not even just Gen X. It's the generations before. This whole colorism bullshit is come to the forefront. Because like my girl, she was just telling me, it's like black women been saying this shit for the longest. How we put the light skin, the mixed people on top, but they was always told black women they hating, they bitter, this, that, and the third. But then when it comes in the opposite sex, black men, it's a problem now. And Kendrick just exposed that. The nigga's a hater. We got to accept that.
Oh, you said Kendrick's a hater?
Absolutely. But it's not even just Kendrick. It's just the whole culture. And it's just come to a head and it's been exposed. It's put out there now.
So I gotta ask J.I., how old are you? Because you said,
I'm 30. I'm 30.
30. Okay, cool. So who do you think is winning so far? Because these guys are of, your formative years.
To be honest, I mean, me personally, I got it 2-0 Drake. But in the consensus of the people, it's 1-1. That's how I got it scored right now.
All right.
That's what's up. With JL Designs, man. We appreciate you coming on with your perspective, man. We appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No doubt. Check us back next week.
Yes, sir.
LT, real quick. LT wanted to jump on real quick before we get super duper in here. Well, LT, what's good?
What's up, bro?
God bless your life. Big yourself up. Got this in between time tours right now to speak to y'all. How y'all doing?
Good, man. How you doing, LT?
Man, I'm out here growing right now, getting the plants together. I saw y'all on, had the support, of course, for a little minute, like Ron said, but salute, Leroy. What's up, y'all? Just getting it in. So I just want to say this, man. Like I said, clearly, Ron is right, about the colorism, about, we got bigger things to worry about. But the problem is that's all Kendrick got on Drake. That's all it is to say. You see what I'm saying? It's nothing more. Like bars equal songwriting ability, consistency. I mean, what can you say? So that's all Kendrick got. That's all he has on Drake.
No doubt. Well, LT, man, appreciate you as always coming through, bro. And
we got Drake up.
We got Drake up, man. Check on this next week, man. We got one more in-depth discussion, bro. We appreciate you.
It's 1-1. Let's
No
get it.
doubt. No doubt.
One.
Super duper. What's good?
What's really good, fellas?
What's good?
Oh man, what's good, man? How you doing, bro?
They've been waiting to hear from you, bro. They've been waiting to hear from you, bro. We were waiting for this.
I'm surprised y'all saying this right now. And y'all know I said it from the beginning, from the last 2-3 podcasts. I'm not a Kendrick fan, but I ain't gonna lie, I love it. I like how. I mean, I'm not mad at him for not being able to say nothing new because Drake been out for a while. He living his life through TMZ, just like Kanye. But I mean, when you go at how he dissected him, it was almost like Professor Xavier, right? You know how Professor Xavier got his powers, right. and he can go in your brain and speak and talk to you. Right. He was talking so hard to Drake that he got to come with some fire. And I don't understand how people saying that it's 1-1 really right now. I mean, the AI verse got took down. I like the AI. I thought it was creative, but it really wasn't no disses. And then with the push-ups, I mean, it wasn't nothing spectacular that he really said in there. Like, it wasn't nothing that he said at Kendrick that would make me say that Drake won a round or not. I mean, right. I mean, it depends on how we counting this. Are we starting? Y'all was having this discussion earlier. Are we starting this from first-person shooter, or are we starting this from like that? Because if we starting this from like that, I'm saying Kendrick up 2-0.
I'm starting from first person shooter. I've been saying first person shooter for the longest, super duper. I'm saying for first person shooter.
I disagree with that. I'm starting when you start full records because the whole I'm gonna bait you by verses because we don't even do that with 4 3 2 1, right? With the Cannabis LL, we don't count the 4 3 2 1 verse, but that's when everything started. Really, when LL came at him on the last verse or whatever on 4 3 2 1. But we start this from second round knockout. I think when you jump out there and do a full diss record on somebody or addressing them in that record, that's when it starts. I'm going to start with push-ups in this.
All right, so which song is better? I say this song is better than push-ups.
I say this song is, I'll give it to this song too.
I mean, especially when it comes down to the aspect.
He did too much. He lyrically did too much for me to say otherwise. And I don't think Drake did enough on push-ups at Kendrick Lamar specifically for me to put it over Euphoria.
Hey, let me break this down too on the culture vulture aspect of this, right? Mm-hmm. For one, like everybody know, Drake's an actor, right? And this is where I love where Kendrick got into using that Canadian slang. Why don't Drake rapping with Canadian slang if he not jocking and vulturing off the culture? They got their own slang, their own words out there. He know that won't work. So he could have been just some Canadian rapper that could have still blew up and people still accepted him here and use his own slang and use his own lingo and do the things that they do. So I understand the aspect of that's why that verse from him when he was using Crody and Fam and talking like how Drake be talking. I love that part of the song because it's showing him why he's saying that he's the culture vulture. You mimicking something. You mimicking black American slang. You mimicking black American style when you got your own black Canadian stuff that you could be doing there.
You're right. And you know what? We've seen Drake attach himself to Houston culture, Atlanta culture, Memphis culture. What else am I missing? Jamaican culture. But there's a lot of people in the Caribbeans that are in Toronto, so that's slightly different.
London, he did the drill rap for a little bit.
We also seen Drake rap in every accent there is.
We have.
We got Jamaican Drake, we got Arab Drake, we got we got Drake man, he been attaching himself to everything, and even to the young fan base, which is smart. You can't be mad at him because he reaching out to the youth, and he has gave a lot of people their best songs. But the culture don't accept this. This is what we've been talking about the whole time. Even with Eminem, when we talked about this a couple of days ago, are you accepted by the culture? Nobody ever mentions Drake really in their top 10. But if as far as rapping goes, we can give him his hits. He definitely doing his thing. Mos Def just called him Pop a couple months ago. So
Yeah.
So it is what it is, you know. And then he apologized or whatever. He went out like a sucker. But I'm just saying, like I love the song right now. It might not have the most replay value, but you know, most of these songs don't do that unless they really major hits. But neither one of Drake's songs really moved me like that. Like I said, I thought the AI one was the best one on the creative side from Drake, but I guess we gotta erase that or act like, you know, we got a Jedi mind trick that out of our mind, I guess, because
It's gone. Yo, we got one more caller that wants to join us. We got one more call for the night. HR Harwin, what's good?
Hard one, yeah. What's good? What's good to the panel? Appreciate being brought
How
on.
you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up? I guess I addressed the topic first before I really go in what I was saying in the comment section. The topic of which was better, in my opinion. Whichever one is better is subjective, but in my opinion, the Euphoria was better.
Okay.
And that's no attack on Drake's skill. I don't think nobody on the panel in the chat can deny that he has skill to make music. You know, so either one is your preference of what you're going with. We know it's a battle, so you got to pick a winner. If I want to pick a winner right now, to me, Kendrick is up.
What draws you to Euphoria over push-ups?
That question is a great segue to what I was saying the whole time in the comment section on why some of the things being said on the panel was wild to me. Like, what draws me to it is his stance.
Yeah.
His stance from him, and then in the way that his angle and how he's attacking Drake. Regardless if we've seen that angle before or not, the way he's doing it is different. And the attack on the identity aspect, that's a part of Black African culture, not just in American culture, but Black African culture in the Caribbean. Regardless if you identify with being Black or not, genetically these people are Black. So when you say, hey, is it okay? When you ask Mike a question like, hey, would you be okay with J. Cole saying nigga, but not Drake? What are we talking about? J. Cole openly identifies with mentally and culturally with being identified with Black issues.
Right.
I got you. And I can respect
he
that.
He openly does that. So
I got you.
That's like asking, is Bob Marley? That's like asking, is Bob Marley conscious compared to Bryant Gumbel, bro? That's two different things.
Right.
Bob Marley is mixed. That doesn't mean you're not African genetically. The Puerto Ricans can say nigga because them are Africans genetically, regardless if they identify with it or not. The fact that they don't identify with it is credence to the lack of education or the miseducation of Africans in America and in the Caribbean islands. We calling these people Latino based on the language they speak, not them genetically. That's two different things. So yes, it is 2024, brother. But yeah, it's 2024, and we still having these discussions because it's still relevant in 2024.
It is. And you know what? I love that we're having this discussion.
So how can we ignore that like it ain't relevant? Let's talk about getting money. Cool, but we could talk about getting money if our culture wasn't being exploited. I shouldn't have to tell Dominicans that they Black. I shouldn't have to tell Puerto Ricans they Black. The fact that I even have to say that is credence to the relevance of it.
No, I love that we're having this discussion, man, because I didn't think this quote unquote rap battle was going to turn this way. And a lot of people were talking about, oh, this is a way to, sell records, blah, blah, blah. But Kendrick just turned this into an educational and awareness moment. You know what I'm saying? And for us to even have this conversation and be able to get somewhere with it through this battle, I think is awesome.
Yes.
I don't think it got nothing to do with the fact that he light skinned, because J. Cole light skinned. Again, it got everything to do with culturally, how he grew up, how you identify. Because that is a part of Black American culture. And Mike brought up a good point with the caste systems existing in the Caribbean islands. That black and light skin, that dark skin, light skin thing exists in Puerto Rico. That dark skin, light skin thing exists in the Dominicans. That dark skin, light skin thing exists among the Haitians. Yet these are both sides are genetically African people. That whole concept come from colonialism, bro. So yes, I'm talking about colonialism, and it's relevant because it's still a problem.
I agree.
Up in the house, even some of our own family members would say, and within the 90s and the 2000s, in recent history, would say, "Oh, that's a baby maker right there," because the girl you brought over was light skinned with pretty eyes, quote unquote, colorful eyes. Yet she may still be African, but it ain't about the fact if she African or not. It's about the idea of how even the dark skinned Africans look at that. That comes from colonialism, bro. Yeah. That's why I said what you're saying is ignorant. That's not a matter of opinion. That's a cultural fact.
It's not just skin either, though. It's also the clothes on your back. Like when he said he'll fit.
Absolutely. All of that is colonialism.
When you walk around with Chanel, Gucci, Versace, all of Dolce and Gabbana, who are we repping?
Absolutely.
So,
I see your point.
Kendrick just talking about Drake? Is Kendrick just talking about Drake?
Right.
Well, it's being used through Drake because he's a prominent figure that's doing what I'm calling cooning. The choosing to be black when it's convenient, when he want to promote the black side of it, when it's some negative shit, when he want to play like he this fake gangster talking about this hood shit when he not from that. But yet when it comes time to stand up for black issues, I never hear Drake talk about none of that.
I got you, bro. I got you, bro. Yo, I respect where you coming from. This is a deeper conversation.
That's the conversation that Kendrick is having, though.
I know. Like I said, when we started off the show, I said I respect the record. I saw how you was dissecting Drake. I said that earlier, but we're gonna get into that, bro. I want you to call in next week. We can kind of expand on this a little bit more. We got to get ready to run, but man, we appreciate you, Hard One. I respect where you coming from, bro. We'll dig deep on this next show, bro. We'll get to it, bro. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me on.
No doubt, bro. Peace. Man.
Anytime. Let me get to the stats real quick, guys, and I'm gonna let you go, Super. DJ Bruce Almighty says, just my opinion. I think y'all are wrong. Kendrick never talked his skin tone. It's not colorism. It's about the culture. That's why I mentioned his wife is mixed.
Got you.
I think we got a couple of more. Bruce Almighty says, thank you, Super Duper, the culture. Yeah, that's how behind we are in the super chats. We got a big little vest with hashtag King Kendrick. J.I. Designs with the super chat says, how is K-Dot up when his diss isn't even replayable? We love replaying Ether, Takeover, Hit 'em Up, No Vaseline. It's a different kind of diss record. This has caused a whole different discussion. J.I. Design says, K-Dot is fake pro-black, y'all. He loves biracial women, but not Drake. Pause. DJ Bruce Almighty says, Terrence Thornton, Pusha T, I'm Terrence Crawford. J.I. Design with another super chat says, K-Dot is showing how black men pick and choose when it's black, who's black when it's convenient. That's an interesting point. Go ahead, Super Duper. My bad.
No, what I was gonna say is that he just threw me off with that. What I was gonna say is that when you look at how Drake when he sent that or he posted that text to his mom, right? So, like Drake do have real true identity issues. So when he posted that post to his mom or posted that text or whatever from his mom, when Rick Ross was calling him white boy, he was saying, he's being racist, right?
Yeah.
Or even like when he wore the blackface. Only somebody that's culturally ignorant would even do something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I really believe that even through all his Nickelodeon years, he was raised thinking that he was really white. He never really identified as being black, really. And it's not a problem.
Is there a possible notion, though, that being black and Canadian is different than being black and American?
Exactly. That's the point that Kendrick is making.
Yeah.
That you mimicking a black American male. You mimicking that. You jumping onto something that we started. You using our slang when really you got your own thing going on over there. You know what I'm saying? You trying to make songs with some of the most respected and hardest hip hop artists there is out here to give you that stamp of approval, kind of like with Eminem and 50. You know what I'm saying? Like where you standing behind them to show so you can gain acceptance. And I love the angle that he went with it. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I really thought it was a smart, good. I like to hear the way that Kendrick was flowing on there. I don't know why everybody hating. It's something up with that to me. Like I don't understand.
People's heads. And I think it might be touching on some things that people don't want to address, because the way you guys are actually presenting this and talking about this song, I mean it's a deeper conversation. And I think for that alone, we definitely got to give Kendrick the nod. We can't just, and I was looking at this as just on the surface diss record, but I think this is more than that. Like Kendrick used this as an opportunity to make a bigger discussion about it.
Like he always do with his music though.
Yeah.
And that's the major divide. You know what I'm saying? Really just with that. Like you gotta You got to sit back and really listen to it and think about what he really saying and how he coming at him and why he's saying what he's saying. And that's why he calling him a master manipulator. You playing games with us, really. You playing games with us.
Scammer part. Okay. So yeah, he is the master manipulator culturally and adapting to different styles, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Jay with another super chat says, when was Drake white? Was he white when he was making all those hit records with Rick Ross, Jay, and Kendrick?
He was white when he put on blackface.
But what do you say to that notion, though, Super Duper, that Rick Ross and many others were okay with it as long as it was working for them?
I mean, that's business. You know, like Leroy said, I mean, he did it. It was in his past. He was a kid, but it's still something that he did. You know, like we can't take back what he did. He did it, and they decided to keep working with him. And either way, man, it's a beef. You got to use what you got. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not mad at Kendrick for not saying nothing new. I was saying this before that he needed to come out sooner just so he wouldn't run out of things to say. Now, it would have been different if he would have brought out the stomach surgery or getting the abs done. It would have been different if he would have brought out the story of Adidon and how he ain't taking care of his kids or whatever. But just how he talked to him about like a man, like, boy, you need to grow up. Like he was talking to him like he was his uncle or something. And like he was ashamed of him, and like he disgusted with this man.
Right. I mean, there were times where Drake could have stepped up and helped Kendrick out too. There were times where Kendrick was stepping up to the cultural plate when black folks was under duress. Drake could have showed a cameo. You know what I mean? I support my brothers over here. You know?
We talk about the big three, right? And to that point, Leroy, and I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't think about that part of it. When there was a lot of social unrest, people like Kendrick and Cole were at the forefront of this, and many of these topics Drake was staying out of. Now, again, that's that American, being Black American versus possibly being Canadian, Black or whatever. We felt like, okay, well, that's more of an American issue. I'm not totally educated on that. Whatever his reasons were, regardless of it, when things were happening in the culture and to people of the culture, you were nowhere to be found when Kendrick and Cole were very vocal. And I think that is a very valid point.
But that's because he's Canadian. Even that word that he called most deaf. What do you call him? I can't remember exactly what. Like he called him some type of. You know what I'm talking about, though, right? He used some Canadian slang to slander him.
Or something? I don't know.
He called him basically called him a crackhead, but in Canadian way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean,
regardless of what Most is going through and what Most says, and I talk about it all the time, I'm a big fan of Most, man. Like, certain people don't need to be disrespected. There's certain ways to just handle, some of our OGs, man, and the lack of respect for people like Yassine and Most in that situation was unnecessary. But again, in a tough spot, man, everybody throws darts at him.
I'm not gonna pretend, and everybody need to stop talking about like trying to compare this to Ether and No Vaseline and all that. Come on, man. We know that these dudes is mediocre guys, man. When it really come down to it, these ain't the greats. These ain't this is rap been trash for about 20 years now. Really, when it come down to it, so let's not expect them.
I don't want to interrupt you, man, but this is like when we grew up watching heavyweight fighters, and now we got to watch lightweight fighters. That's what this is.
Yeah, the heavyweight division is over with, man. We got to watch middleweights and light featherweights and bantamweights guys now. You know what I'm saying? So it's
not real beef, man. It's not real beef like that. But I think
even if it was real beef, these guys aren't good enough to make it matter. They not. This goes back to what I keep saying. They're not slick enough. They're not that great of lyricists and rappers compared to what's already been before us. You know what I'm saying? They're not good enough, really.
They're not Ice Cube, KRS-One, Nas, or
That was the first of its kind. Our era is the first of its kind. That's why it impacts a certain way. Now, I won't say it's equal, but and I don't know Kendrick Lamar like that or who he runs with, but I wouldn't try Kendrick's hand on some real street stuff because I wouldn't want to try that just to see it. I wouldn't want to call that bluff. Second, it's just not the same thing. They're talking about a lyrical battle. They don't have no real street. Nobody got touched. It's not a real street beef. So the real animosity is not there. They're talking about culturally, musically, artistically. And I think there's an opportunity there to grow instead of, we appreciate the past. We appreciate the foundation because without the foundation, we wouldn't be standing. But I think there's an opportunity to grow here in how we battle. And now everybody can battle. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, when I see you, it's going to be a problem. Like, nah, we just talking about the art. You know what I mean?
think there is some real animosity there, though. I think the things that Kendrick said and his stance on how Drake fits into this whole hip hop sphere, I think he does have a problem with. And I think that Drake feels like Kendrick is overrated. I've been very vocal about the fact I think that Drake felt a certain way about Billboard putting Kendrick number 2 all time and slighting him for all the hits and all the work that he's put in. And he probably feels like Kendrick hadn't put in that work, where Kendrick feels like you really shouldn't even be here in the first place.
Hey, you know what? You know what's another thing that I want to address too, man?
Go ahead.
I'm tired of hearing people say something is too long. Like, do everybody got ADHD now? Like,
Right.
I hear this about albums now. 1 minute we were just complaining about 2-minute songs, and I'm not saying that it's not a little long, but like at least it's long for a reason. It's not just long to be long. So I don't mind a long album. Like I can sit down and listen to an album while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, driving in the car. If I'm driving on the road and I'm listening to an album, I'm never gonna say it's too long. It's just kind of I don't know where this too long thing came from.
Streaming, you know what I mean? People got too many options where it's like now instead of sitting there putting a CD in your car where you're forced to listen to the whole thing, you got the ability to skip around everywhere, you know, MP3 culture, you know. I think Mad Max said he want to get in the room too, man. We got to get Mad Max in here before we get off.
Hey, imagine if when we came out, CDs would have been seven songs long. We would have had a problem with that back in the day.
I mean, I wouldn't have bought them. The first thing I used to do when I go in Blockbuster Music or whatever, I look on the back to see how many songs is on there. I think that's how Master P was winning, because he would have a CD that's like $12.99, but with 20 songs on there. It's like you thinking like, well, shit, at least 12 of these are gonna be fire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, these guys wouldn't even be able to appreciate a double CD nowadays because, like I said, everybody got ADHD.
Big Who Shot You with the super chat says Drake wasn't repping being black when he was on Degrassi. He only started repping being the black side when he started popping off in hip hop. Was he not the black kid on Degrassi? Degrassi is slightly after me. Like I mean, was, yeah,
that's acting. He got paid to do an acting job. He did his job.
How did he even get the name Drake? Is that his middle name? Like, where did this name come from?
His middle name, I think. Yeah,
it's his middle name.
Yeah, we gotta let Mad Max in the room. Mad Max really got something to say. I'm sure he's gonna go in on Kendrick. Christopher Hogan with the super chat says Drake supports hip hop when Kendrick's nowhere to be found. K-Dot ain't doing features and albums with black artists, so who really supports hip hop culture? That's a very good point too, because even though culturally what Kendrick represents is, you know, excellence and excellent in its sense in a vacuum, but if you're not active and you're nowhere to be found, your availability is your best ability. Mad Max is in the room with the kufi on. What you got to say, Mad Max?
Look, I'm gonna just say this. Y'all can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Turn yourself up just a little bit, man. But you sound better than last time.
All right, so this is what I'm gonna say, bro. Kendrick, I hear what people saying about Drake and the culture, but you gotta remember when Kendrick and J. Cole were coming out with those albums, 2014, 2015, and the Black Lives Matter thing was popping, we have footage of J. Cole. We didn't get footage of Kendrick till like 2018. That was why No Name said what she said. So the thing that people forget is that Kendrick ain't Teflon, bro. He's somebody that a lot of people feel used activism rap as a way to profit, and then he makes himself this Messiah-like figure. It's not like J. Cole, where J. Cole, we've seen him go march with homeboy Trayvon Martin thing. It's what happened to Trayvon Martin. Well, that was in Florida, right? Or something like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We seen that. We have footage of that. The last time I seen Kendrick at a Black Lives Matter rally was with the homeboy that used to play for the Raptors from
DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. I don't even know what year that was, but that was way after the fact. That's when like he was about to drop Damn or something like that. Like that's why No Name said what she said, and J. Cole took offense because he thought it was for him, but she said it wasn't really for him, and they talked it out. So who else was it for? We know who it was for because she wasn't talking to Drake.
Your mic is peaking.
It was
All right.
like my thing with, and I'm gonna say this about the diss. I like the line, but the Kendrick, you can't tell me about the culture, and you yourself as a black man, you sound Caucasian rapping it. Amazing, brother. I can't deal with that. That flow, all that stuff he do, the theatrics, the way he rhyme, he don't sound like he come from the hood he claims. Kendrick don't sound like he come from Compton. I'm sorry, bro. He don't sound like
Game.
He sound like a dark-skinned Drake sometimes. It's just that he's more culturally viable than Drake. Because Drake, we know about Drake. Kendrick is more, we know where Kendrick's from. So we can accept it. But you know those brothers like this. Kendrick reminds me of Carlton. It's just that he's a hood version of Carlton. Or Steve Urkel too. Like they're the same. He just more, I just respect Kendrick more, his manhood a little bit more than Drake. I'll give him that. His manhood, the way he goes about certain things, I respect more than Drake. Drake is a little bit of a clown, but
I mean, we got to stand on something. We got to stand on something. What is it going to be? The person that's profiting off the revolutionary rap, or the person that's making vibe music? Which side are we standing on? It don't matter to me.
But Leroy, what I'm saying is they both are. Drake is pretty much the black guy, the mixed black guy that the Jewish crowd puts out so they can get more money. He's safe. Kendrick is the same way too. He's under some Jewish person on in his scope. It's not like they're both puppets for the Caucasian man. So
no, man.
Drake
I think brought him in. I think Dr. Dre brought Kendrick in, and
Dr. Dre also brought Eminem in. He's dead to me in this culture. He's done.
So who are we standing next to? Who are we happy with? Who represents this culture in the same light as a Drake? Who are we happy with?
I'm happy with Nas.
Nas is repping like Kendrick is repping.
Yeah, outside. I mean, I don't want to say outside, but
not mad.
He's available. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if we want to talk about those things, being musically available is what we want to see in our artists. We want to see our artists actually make music and put out music. And when we do get music from them, if we have to wait for it, we want it to be worth the wait, right? And I think what Kendrick represents is awesome, but I think his lack of frequent activity, especially in relation to Drake, has kind of created a wedge between where some people put Drake and where some people put him. Because I think that's really where the wedge is. If Kendrick was active and jumping out there, making albums every 2 years, staying consistent, being great, excellent, and Billboard put him at number 2, I don't think Drake or anybody could say anything about that. But the fact that he wasn't as active, had a big gap, and you got people out here working, coming out with material all the time, coming out with 2 or 3 projects every year, and somehow he jumps over all of that, I think that's where the gap and the friction comes from. James Super Chat says, Mad Max brings up Kendrick going to protest after Cole did, but not even mentioning Drake hasn't been to a protest at all. It's dirty work. Drake protest. Drake ain't gonna go out there speaking about, no Black Lives Matter, none of that stuff.
Mad Max, which song you like better?
Still there, Mad Max?
Yeah, I'm still here. I like Push Ups better. I like it as a song better.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, man. We got to get Mad Max a mic, man. The people in the chat was clowning you, man, with the mic, but your points were felt and were heard. and I appreciate your position just like everybody else's, man. I guess before we get out of here, man, I want to ask the people. Oh, got another call in. What's good, bro?
What's happening?
Yo, man, good to hear from you, man. What are your thoughts?
I had to come back for my victory run. I told y'all it was coming.
Yeah. You said it. You said it was coming.
You said it,
The
man.
character assassination, and he ain't coming back from this. He'll never be the same. He'll still be great. He'll still be Drake. He'll still make some hits, but
Yeah.
he'll never be the same. That barbecue card, man, that barbecue card's getting slimmer and slimmer every day. He don't respond to this. That card's getting slimmer and slimmer before it evaporates. So it's up to Drake, whatever he wants. He already got the pop lane.
Well,
This
let me ask you
battle
this.
is-
Since
Go
you've been on point, let me ask you this. How does Drake respond to this? I know you think he's done, but what position does he take? Because he can't go numbers wise because we talk culture stuff. Where does he go from here?
He got to embrace his role as a visitor, like Eminem did. Embrace it. You are a visitor. You're not black. You're mixed. Black is a moniker for African American people who have gone through the struggle in this country in particular. Before it got blown out with the politics and the lefty talk, the name Black man was African American. You're from America. He's black. Everybody else around the world, they call us black. They call themselves, I'm Ethiopian, I'm Haitian, I'm Jamaican. You over here, you're black. That's what that means. So he needs to just embrace himself. You're Canadian. You're still here, though. You know, we still want to hear the raps, but embrace it. Call out Kendricks, call out his fault. Sometimes he missed the protesty too. Yeah, sometimes he don't come outside. He's kind of aloof with that.
He might have had
What's up?
Kendrick may have kept his mask on at a protest. If I'm Kendrick and I go to a protest and people take pictures, I may say people are going to try to use this to say I'm clout chasing. So let me keep my mask on and let me go through the protest like that.
Of course, I don't think Kendrick is clout chasing for no. I mean, I feel like he put on. So I don't think that. But if I was Drake, that's the angle I would go for. But you can't take that angle while also saying, "Oh, you can't talk about my race." No. You can't call Kendrick a clout chaser and a race baiter using the racy card, and then you don't address your issues. So he has to address his issues, accept his role as a visitor, and show some respect to the culture. Get some points first before you try to, take some points away from Kendrick.
I think one of the biggest missteps that Drake has made in this whole thing was something that Super Duper said. When Drake put that text out there to his mother and basically tried to call out Rick Ross for being racist, I think that was a big misstep. Because that shows your disconnection right there. Like, I don't feel like J. Cole would have done that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like J. Cole's been around. I mean, he's mulatto too, but I feel like he's been around black culture enough where he wouldn't even think to do that or even think to call another black man racist for, talking about him being mulatto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if he identifies as being black.
Right.
He pulled the back Lamar, man. He showed the text, which is funny business. I don't think
showing text is always funny business. I agree.
And J. Cole would have did that because he down with us. He mixed, yeah, that's true. But he was raised where we was raised.
Yep.
Do we want to go down the mixed road? Like, there's a lot of mixed people. I think we should just leave that where Drake's dad is black. Are we clear on that?
But he wasn't raised by his father or around his father. And if he was, I don't think he would have even fixed his mouth or text, rather, to call Rick Ross racist for the stuff that Rick Ross was saying. You know what I mean?
It's not about him actually being mixed. It's about how he identifies himself.
Exactly. Yeah. And the whole mixy stuff, it's not about saying who's black, who's not black. I mean, it's not the 1950s. The one drop rule is kind of outdated. You are who you say you are. How do you represent yourself out here in the world? You say you're part of this culture. Well, show us what this culture has taught you. Are you all about the money and the bags and the hoes? That's all you're gonna bring to it? Then people are gonna chop you down. If you ain't got no authentic, if you're not authentic with it, they're gonna chop you down. Especially when this beef coming around.
I think a lot of people champion that money. I think a lot of people champion getting money. And when they get out of these circles, I'm getting money, and that supersedes all the messages that they want to put forward. Is I'm getting money. Now Drake could say, "Yeah, I'm getting money," but again, I came in this thing rapping. If you go back to Comeback Season, you go back to my freestyles and my mixtapes, I came in here rapping, being the Diet Fonte. No disrespect, but You know, that's
even him coming in there. What have you done for the Fontes of the world since you've gotten all the way up here? So that again begins that cultural conversation. Now, what Drake can do on the flip side is kind of speak to some of those things about, like you said, Kendrick disappearing, not really being there for, you know, Black Hippie, other new artists not really jumping on features of other artists. Drake does those things, and he can speak to hypocrisies. He can speak to those things. But I do think that Kendrick has found a strong base in this back and forth with the cultural discussion. Because, I mean, we've had a cultural discussion for the past 2 hours.
Right.
And I think it's a great discussion. And it's something that Drake is really missing in his run that, you know what I'm saying, that could be exploited. Even with Jay being the capitalist that he is, he made sure he always said, I do it for the culture. I do it for my culture. Like the moves that he was making were capitalistic moves, but it affected the culture positively because we all knew that Jay comes from RC Projects.
And that's why I think we need to keep our eye on the ball. Yes, there is a battle going on between Drake and Kendrick, and it's very entertaining. We love it. There's many layers to it. But I think we need to, before we go off on mixed people, we need to keep our eye on the ball that at every level of being an artist on the commercial side, there are 100 trapdoors to make sure that artist doesn't leave the table with money. So, you know, I think we need to stay focused. The mixed race thing or the race thing, I think these are side subjects. But Kendrick had to put that down as a foundation because, you know, it's a strong foundation. But now we need to go into some other things. You know?
Truth Seeker 86 with the super chat says K-Dot is this generation's Nas and Drake is this generation's Jay-Z. Still waiting on Ethan.
I agree when you say that too, and that I hope Drake don't try to come the Jay-Z way and try to diss knowledge. Yeah, like, I hope that I can see him trying to do that and try to make him lame for being, knowledgeable or preachy if that's what he even want to say. I hope he don't make that mistake because that's an L for him too.
Yeah, that's an L too because I see the DJ Academics already kind of trying to set that up with the whole Steve Urkel thing and all that. That's not going to be a good way to go because again, you're going to be dissing not only knowledge, but cultural knowledge and a culture that you ate off of.
I don't think Jay was dissing knowledge, like knowledge itself. I think he was saying there were some contradictions in your knowledge raps.
No, he was dissing knowledge.
Yo, shit is garbage.
He said that shit was played. Come on now.
He
said that shit was
dissing knowledge.
You Owe Me for Ice, Black Girl Lost, Uchi Wally. I think there's. Are you trying to kick knowledge? I think that's what.
No. That's the wrong part of the song, Leroy.
It is. He said, switch up your flow. No, this is what he said. This is what he said. Switch up your flow. Your shit is garbage. What you trying to kick? Knowledge?
What are you trying to kick? Knowledge? You got Uchi Wally. Again, he named songs. Uchi Wally, Black Girl Lost. Should we owe you?
Come on, stop.
He was trying to call Nas a hypocrite, Leroy. You know that's what he was doing. He was trying to call Nas a hypocrite.
I ain't been rapping like common sense. Like, come on.
So you think Jay? Jay thinks being stupid is a good thing?
No, Jay just knew that there was a way to spin that. Jay is a man with knowledge of self. I believe he's probably a 5%. You know what I mean? Like he comes from that era in Brooklyn. So,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? He knows what he knows, but he knew that was the way to spin it.
I ain't been rhyming like common sense, but at the end of the verse, he said, I can't help the point. Since I'm an artist and I know what I'm up against, rappers must decide what's most important.
Nas ain't poor. He got money doing what he was doing. So like that, that ain't that's neither here nor there, Leroy.
See, this is the problem. This is a great problem too.
You're not keeping them. You're generating billions of dollars, and someone else is leaving with the money. That's what Jay is saying. Okay,
and he can say that, but you can't play him two lanes. If you're the money guy, when somebody comes to you with the knowledge talk and saying, "Oh, you sold your soul," you can't say, "Well, I sold my soul for good reasons." Like my soul was hefty. Like you can't say
like I say with the Eminem and Nicki stuff.
You made them. So I got gave back. To me, that's a win-win. So next time you see the homie and his rim spinning, know my mind is working just like them. Like, I mean,
James Smith with the super chat says Drake comes off in the game I'm sorry, Drake came in the game rapping, but was reading off his phone on Hot 97 when he was freestyling.
I don't think
y'all not gonna let him live that one down, as you should.
Mike, I don't
Jay
think
After Time with super chat says 99.9% of these rappers are about money and hoes.
Rappers or people?
Right. That's a good question.
Rappers, I mean, the people who get the most hoes and the most money got the most knowledge. I'm just saying.
Anthony with super chat says, so light skin, mixed, white, etc. should not support the artist that that's talking that you ain't black. Y'all gotta chill. That's where the money comes from.
Man,
Michael Williams with the super chat says Leroy is talking about two different songs. Yeah, on Takeover, Jay tried to diss Kicking Knowledge in general. Blueprint 2 is when he started naming songs. Yeah, is it Uchi Wally Wally or is it One Mic? Is it Black Girl Lost a Shorty owe you for ice?
On that. If y'all think Jay is anti-knowledge, I'll let you have it.
He said it himself.
He was in that bar.
It would be very difficult to do business if you're anti-knowledge, but you know
what we're saying, Leroy. I see you trying to say, but
you gotta celebrate Jay for who he was, the hustler.
I don't know what you're saying.
Mad Max was trying to get in, y'all. His mic real low. He was trying to get in.
Yo, I'm gonna just say this: if Drake does that, the disrespect and knowledge shit, he lost the battle. I'm with Drake in the battle, but you gotta play it smart. You can't just go crazy. You gotta be smart about it. If you want to diss Kendrick, you gotta fault him on his faults. Drake has never been Black American. I never even thought Drake was trying to be Black American. To be honest with you, I know he has Memphis roots and stuff like that because of his pop, but I never really took him that serious. I always took him as a little Canadian boy. So if he wanna say if he comes and says I never thought I was a Black American, I just try to respect the space and then really bomb on Kendrick, yeah, he could do that. I like that. That's respectable.
Anybody you ever talk to, if you're trying to do music, they're gonna say, "What you trying to kick knowledge?" They're not dissing you for being smart. What they're saying is, if that's what you're trying to do, you got to put some good business behind that.
Leroy, stop spinning this, man. He tried to make Nas lame for kicking knowledge.
He did. Let's keep it above.
Knowledge is. I don't think knowledge is whack.
Any closing thoughts from everybody before we get up out of here? I'm gonna let you go. We'll go in reverse. Mad Max, closing thoughts. Mad Max, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
it's a fun battle. We're gonna see. That's what I'm gonna say. We're gonna see.
All right. Who's next?
Hey, all I'm gonna say is, Drake, if you listening, you stop trolling on IG. You better apologize today. Apologize. Talk to your publicist. Get a nice written statement. And get back to making them hits, because you're not gonna come back from this. You try to take this to the long run. If you let Kendrick Lamar go a whole summer laying diss track against you and destroying your character, and you lose your whole black card, it's gonna be rough out here for you, dog. Your legacy gonna look crazy. Apologize. Say I'm sorry. Say I respect the culture, and get back to making hits and making money. That's your lane. We like the melodies. Do that. Stop acting tough. And I'm out.
All right. Super duper closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts is everybody chill out, man. Stop trying to relive the past. This ain't 99. This ain't early 2000s. Accept this beat for what it is. Accept these songs for what they are, because it ain't gonna get no better than this, really, probably anyway. So, Kendrick came outside. I'm not surprised, because I said he had to. He had to come outside. But I'm satisfied with what he did. I like what he did. I really think that he went at Drake for his manhood. Damn near equated him to a bitch the whole song, just like how he just despised him as a grown-up man. So he just wanted to make that divide between them two and let them know, like, hey, you this and I'm that. You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I ain't complaining.
All right, Leroy, closing thoughts.
Yeah, I like it. I think Kendrick, just stay where you at. Stay right where you at. Write more of those rhymes and continue those rhymes. Drake, you got to remind these people why you're in the position that you're in the first place. You know that there was a time where you had to write rhymes where nobody believed in you, and you was the only one at the table writing them rhymes. Go back to that and prove that you earn your spot to be here. That's all.
Anthony Demon with the super chat says, do we knock all European players in the NBA that's winning MVPs? They good at the sport. What counts? How we judging by race? I think it's about connectivity. And I think that, if we want to compare this to the NBA, let's look at Jokic or somebody like that. I think that he is going to show respect to the people in the NBA that came before him, that made the game what it is, and utilize their knowledge and their tutelage. I don't think that, and he's adding what he adds to the game. I think that, like what Leroy said, Drake's going to have to remind people why he's here and that he wasn't given anything and he worked for this. Now, some things that were done are done. He can't go back and be a part of marches that he wasn't a part of or speak out on certain things that he refused to speak out on. But maybe he can add some level of clarity to that. But to Leroy's point, I think that Kendrick has found a great lane. I think he needs to stay in that lane and double down on it, because it's going to be hard for Drake to actually prove that he's here for the culture like that, outside of him jumping on other people's stuff, but that could be seen as vulture type stuff as well. So this got really interesting, man. I think Euphoria really took this whole back and forth to the next level and made it even more interesting than at least I thought it would be. Now, I wasn't expecting no Vaseline, like Super Duper said. I wasn't expecting no hit 'em up, but this has become surgical in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
All right, man. Hit like and subscribe, everybody. And if y'all haven't checked out that Pete Rock interview that Mickey Fax did for us at According to Hip Hop, a shout out to American Songwriter, go on our channel and check it out. Talking about knowledge and culture, man. Like Pete was dropping jewels. So yeah, we appreciate y'all calling in, all the callers, all of the super chats, everybody chiming in. Great conversation. And shit, we're gonna see y'all Monday, if not soon.
All right, salute y'all.
Salute everybody. Serve.
Duper, man, Max. Salute.